Tim, if you're ready, you might be afraid to come up here now after all that's gone on. But this is a really good presentation Tim's got on the 511 app. A little different perspective, though.
All right, good morning. I'm Tim Crommie. I work for the New York State Department of Transportation, and I was part of the 511 NY committee. And that committee, what they're responsible for is to create and develop the 511 initiatives here in New York. Director is Todd Westheist, and our project manager is Rex Williams. So they kind of oversee the project itself and all the ins and outs. My part on the committee was mainly an advisor, as I'm using my experience with web applications and so forth, kind of guiding the committee on some of their decisions and making sure that we kind of meet some kind of standards for the department itself. The mobile app was developed with NYS DOT and in conjunction with Televent and Mexis Mobile. Televent was our main contractor, and Pixis Mobile was our subcontractor on the project. So to go along here, today my goals today is really to give you just a short background of what the project was, and then try to pass on some of the lessons learned that we come across on developing the application and working with the contractors itself. I'm not really going to get into too much detail as in coding and so forth as my predecessors did, but this will help your agencies as you ever hire a contractor to build a mobile application. Hopefully some of the things that we stumbled upon you can see now and help you in the future to avoid our mistakes or our problems. I'm going to talk a little bit about dealing with the app stores, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of contact information, so if you want more information or the gory details, you can call us and talk to us one-on-one. All right, the 511NY mobile application, it was basically an application to take our existing website, the 511ny.org, and make it into a mobile application to be installed on individual devices. Now, if you're not familiar with the 511 site, it's mainly NYS DOT's main focus for all travel information on the roads. Okay? The application would encompass, the use of interactive maps, show incidents and closures, special events, any construction, also our camera systems showing the cameras, and weather forecasts and alerts, where bridges and tunnels are located, and speed of traffic. And on version 2, they're going to encompass the winter travel advisory application, where it shows you the condition of individual roads as you travel. So that was the main focus of the project, is to take our existing website and make it a mobile app. Sounds easy. All right, the first thing we had to kind of decide on is, what kind of devices are we going to support? And as our speakers are saying today, that is changing constantly. We have new operating systems, new devices, new pads, new this, new that come out daily. So we had to really figure out, okay, where are we going to put our flag in the sand here and start at what point? With the advice of our contractor and some research in-house and looking at some of our web stats that we have, what mobile devices were accessing our websites in the 511, it kind of gave us an idea of what people were using as in browsers. So with all that information piled, we kind of stuck our flag in the sand and decided to support the BlackBerry with operating systems from 4.5 or later. We went to decide on the iPhone or iPod Touch with operating system 3.0 or later. The Android operating system with 2.2 or higher, and the Windows 7 smartphone. We think that would meet most of our customer base without increasing the development time of the app and the cost of development of the application. So it's something that your agencies are going to have to decide on. Who do you support and how much money you're going to spend, which we all know is very important nowadays as we develop applications and do things in our team. One of the first things we discovered is that when you're getting a contractor to build a new application, especially in mobile web, what development platform are they going to be using? And how is that development platform going to affect the application itself? Our contractor used an in-house application studio to develop the mobile app. And at first we really didn't think this was going to be a problem. It's just a studio that they use to develop apps. It's going to help us crank the app out quicker. It's going to reduce the amount of coding that's needed to maintain and make changes to the app, so it was sounding pretty good for us. But we later learned that the platform would do certain things. It would ask permissions when you install the application to access different things on your iPhone or on your device that you may use and may not use. So this raised a lot of questions like, what are the permissions that it's asking for? Could these permissions be used or misused in any way? What is our customers going to think about these accesses? Will it affect the operation of the application? And will this be a problem when our customers start to install this application? So what it all boils down is just privacy. You know, we've talked about our customers, and everybody's concerned about privacy and what's going on. But you know, as a government entity, we don't want to give the assumption that we're collecting personal information or the impression that, that we're gathering information on our customers like that, private information. So some of the things the app was asking for is just, installed on a Droid or a BlackBerry. One was a user location. Well, it's a travel app, and part of the aspect is it identifies where you're at to help with directions, and if you get lost, or give you the alerts and accidents in your local area. Well, we could just see the blogs hitting now as the app went out release, and all the conspiracy people saying, "Hey man, government's keep tracking where you're at and what you're doing on the 511 app." So we decided that even though this was required, we needed to put an FAQ out and say, okay, this is what we're accessing this information for, and this is how it's going to be used and maintained. One of the aspects of it was contact information. The application asked for access to your contacts. What in the world is a travel app asking for your contacts? Was it going to email Mary and tell her that you're going to be late because you're stuck in traffic? So we raised the question, what is this? What is it doing? Well, the contractor explained to us, well, being we're building it on this platform, the platform asks for certain permissions, even though it may not use them. Well, we said, wait a minute, hold up, back up. They did find a way to remove the contact question out of there so it doesn't do that, but there's some aspects that it still asks for some permissions that it may not use. So this is a concern. This is a concern of our customers and us. Some of the other stuff we explain in our FAQs. Why it needs internet access. Your device storage. Why is it used? Some device storage it uses with maps and so forth. So we found out we had to really identify that and why. So I guess one of the first lessons learned is you have to be familiar with the platform that your contractor is using. Okay? What information or permissions is that platform going to ask for, and how are you going to handle that as a privacy side? And you really want to address that first off. And privacy is a big topic that we can talk all day on. But you really need to be aware of what your app's going to ask for and how you're going to handle privacy information if you collect any, or how you're going to inform your customers of what you're using those permissions for. So that's the first thing that lesson learned that we think everybody should be aware of when you first start out. One of the things we started out to be is the speed of light, as I call it. As we learned here, developing a mobile application and sometimes is pretty quick. As we showed here, we just developed one just like that. And the development process for that mobile app is very quick, and the contractors are used to putting out mobile apps very quickly because it's a money thing. Well, our contractors were moving at one speed and we were moving at another. And as a state agency, our documentation is very important to us. We want to make sure that our our requirement document is done and thorough. We want to make sure our design documents are thorough, and we, as a state agency and a contractor, we understand exactly what we expect and what they're going to produce for us. Our contracts are moving faster than that. They had application demos for us before we even finished the design document. It was pretty crazy. So it raised some questions and concerns in our eyes as to what's going on. With the fast development, like I said, we had some concerns, as in establishing requirements and system testing documents and so forth. We want to make sure those documents were done. We kind of struggled with this because as we were doing the design documents and so forth, we would say, okay, we want to put this in the design document. The response back, well, it's already in the application, you really need to worry about that. Yes, we do, because when we finish up here, we want to make sure that you give us what we want and you understand what we want. So it was a real struggle in working with the design document and getting that completed, in a timely manner. I think it all boiled down to is that our subcontractor wasn't used to dealing with state agency and our process on creating applications and documenting that process as we go through it for future reference. So I think second lesson learned is we need to make sure that when you start dealing with a company, one, they're familiar with working with a state agency, and even if they are, sit down with them and explain your full process. We do a requirements document, we do our design document, then you can go have all the fun you want and develop. Okay? And so they understand what's needed. And of course, your system acceptance testing document. Make sure that you know what you're testing and they know what you're testing to make sure that application meets the needs of the public and your requirements. Their speed of everything that was going on. Like I said, they actually wanted to want some acceptance testing before even our design document was done, and it was a little frustrating for us anyway. Well, how can you test something you don't have all the requirements established for it? Doesn't make any sense. Some of that came about when we finally did get our sign off on our design document and we started doing our system assessment test and acceptance test. We were down there 4 times trying to get this application signed off on. We go down the first time, find some errors, they fix the errors, and those errors would cause errors. Fixing those errors would cause problems in other parts of the application. So we went down 4 different times, and we really don't think they really did a full testing every time they made changes. So it caused a lot of extra travel time because we had to go down to the city to do that. So it costing money on top of that. So I think it's really important as make sure that your contractor knows the full process and what you expect of them, as in system acceptance testing and the whole documentation thing. So that's really another lesson.